WHAV LP Haverhill. Here's the latest WHAV news. I'm Wynn Damon. Free speech, free press, and a free society were the themes of the day Friday when the Haverhill Bar Association marked 2019's Law Day event at Haverhill District Court at a ceremony attended by Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito. Joining Polito at the newly renovated Ginty Boulevard Courthouse was the city's legislative delegation, Police Chief Alan Denaro, Deputy Chief Anthony Hawk, and Essex County Sheriff Kevin Coppinger, along with Assistant District Attorneys John DiPaolo and Thomas Schultz. Haverhill Mayor James Fiorentini said being back on the courtroom floor brought back memories from his days of practicing law before running for Haverhill City Council in 1995. In his remarks, Fiorentini paid tribute to Haverhill's current First Justice, Stephen Abaney, and others who presided over the Law Day event for maintaining justice in the city's current climate.
Law has always been my first love. I want to thank those of you responsible for keeping us safe, the real heroes, the free and independent judiciary, for those who keep our freedoms intact. Now think about this. All the freedoms in the world, in the Constitution and in the laws, don't mean anything at all unless you have a free and independent judiciary and independent lawyers like the lawyers sitting here who are able to defend those rights.
As part of the Lieutenant Governor's appearance, she touted Haverhill's 3-week-old drug court, an undertaking Fiorentini calls a tremendous asset to the city that had 514 overdose calls in the last 2 years. According to the mayor, 53 deaths resulted from those calls.
Drug court is going to be a tremendous asset to us. It's going to give the opportunity for young people who are headed down the wrong path to now head down the right path.
In the 18-month program, participants receive guidance and assistance from the Haverhill District Court, overseen by Abaney, and the Essex County District Attorney's Office, while taking part in weekly drug screenings, probation, and court sessions. For more on the event, visit WHAV.net. Haverhill police arrested 3 people late Saturday morning on fentanyl trafficking charges. The arrest took place during a traffic stop on 495 northbound. Taken into custody were 35-year-old Crystal Perry, 41-year-old Christopher McFarland, and 42-year-old Matthew Byrus, all from Maine. And Byrus was also charged with carrying a firearm without a license. The arresting officer was Dana Burrell. 2 months after agreeing that the Anton family's 26-acre farm property on West Lowell Avenue in Haverhill cannot be built upon, Mayor James Fiorentini further showed his support to Janice Anton and Barbara DeSalvo at a party thrown in their honor Wednesday night at Haverhill's Willow Spring Vineyards. The bash, put on by the Essex Greenbelt, marks the successful transfer of the parcel from the Anton family to the Land Trust nonprofit in exchange for a sizable tax credit. Echoing remarks made by Fiorentini at the event, Anton tells WHAV the conservation restriction and the groundswell of neighbor support that came with it signifies a sense of balance in the city of Haverhill.
We had interest from other parts of the city, and I think that's important that both our city administration and the people across the city know that many of us are united with the same thing in trying to keep Haverhill open and green, as well as busy and productive, and there's room for both.
DeSalvo told WHAV Fiorentini sought her out at the event to admit that he was not initially in favor of the restriction, but changed his mind because he believed it was the right thing to do because it fulfilled her grandfather's immigrant dream. The Anton family was the 3rd family to start farming on the property, and once Revolutionary War soldier William Merrill built a home on the property in 1769, the family chose to maintain the farm as is forevermore. Essex Greenbelt's Assistant Director of Land Conservation, Vanessa Johnson Hall, said Haverhill's Conservation Commission and City Council were among those local groups to collaborate on the effort to help the city stay green at 996 West Lowell Avenue. In WHAV sports, both the Red Sox and the Bruins have the night off. The Red Sox are going to be hosting the Colorado Rockies tomorrow night, while the Bruins are going to be in Carolina to take on the Hurricanes in Game 3 of their Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Finals. The Bees lead the series 2-0. And coming up Wednesday night, the New England Revolution will be meeting English Premier League side Chelsea in a friendly at Gillette Stadium with the proceeds to help fight racism. In college baseball today, Northern Essex Community College is meeting Community College of Rhode Island in the NJCAA Region 21 Championship round at the New England Baseball Complex in Northborough. And in men's lacrosse, Merrimack has advanced to the NCAA Championship semifinals, where they are going to be taking on Lemoyne in Syracuse on Saturday. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source, and there's always more at WHAV.net, where you can sign up for free digital news headlines. From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is Wynn Damon.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Harry Horton. China is raising tariffs on $60 billion worth of U.S. goods starting on June the 1st. The move further escalates a trade war between the countries. An American explorer has found plastic waste on the floor of the Pacific Ocean's Mariana Trench while breaking the record for the deepest ever dive. And Doris Day, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, has died aged 97.
WAVE weather.
Now your WAVE weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Fog and rain around for a good portion of the night. Very chilly as well, a low of 39. Wind gusts up to 20 miles per hour at times out of the northeast. It'll die down slightly to a 15 miles per hour or less on Tuesday. Showers possible in the morning and then drying out for the most part. Only 45 degrees. Back to around 40, an isolated shower Tuesday night, and then mostly cloudy and recovering slightly into the upper 50s for Wednesday. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next WAVE weather in 30 minutes.
On air and online, all the time. 97.9 WHAV FM. WHAV broadcasts more Greater Haverhill news more often than anyone else combined. Support Haverhill-based news with your tax-deductible local support. Go to WHAV.net, click on the membership button, and thank you. From 97.9 FM, WHAV. Broadcasting on the Armstrong FM system, this is 97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave. WHAV. Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, it's another Monday night, and it's a little after 6 o'clock. 6:08 right now is the time. Bill Masick here, and this hour I've got a couple of special guests with me. I have John Chemelet from Trinity EMS, right? Officially?
Yes, exactly.
And you are the president, CEO, chief cook, bottle washer. You do it all, right?
That is correct.
That's right. But of course, with the assistance of Chris Stick is here, and I don't know, what's your official title, Chris? Do you have one?
I don't know if I can say that on the radio, actually.
That's all right. I know you're an important guy, and you and John travel in pairs quite often.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky to be able to do that. We ding and dong off each other pretty well. But my official title, I guess, is Director of Business Development and Marketing.
Oh, okay. Sure. That's good.
So
all right.
We'll go with that.
All right, we'll go with that for the night. All right. This is the Open Mic Show. We're here every Monday night from 6 until 8 o'clock on WHAV. And we are going to be here until close to 7 o'clock, if I can get them to stay. We're going to be here discussing Trinity EMS and
we'll stay.
the start and how it all happened and where you are now and all the things you do and why people should know what you do so that when they need your services, they can contact you, right?
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And if somebody would like to call in, 978-374-1900 is the number to call WHAV's Open Mic, 978-374-1900, and you can join the conversation. But before we get into talking about Trinity, let me just do a very important message about something that we do on a weekly basis. Every week, we look for calls from people that are having either a birthday or an anniversary, and we give away a free cake once a month. We have a drawing. We actually have a 10-gallon hat in there. We put the names in the hat. We draw out the winner. And we are looking for people with birthdays in the month that is coming up next. So we're into May, so we want June birthdays or anniversaries, if they call them in, talk to our producer, Chris will take the information, and you'll be entered into the drawing. So we draw the last Monday of the month before. So we're looking for those. And if somebody wants to enter, they can do that real easy. Just call 978-374-1900. Now,
What kind of cake is it?
I think you can select vanilla, chocolate. It's from, I should mention, thanks for saying that. I should mention Albie D's second generation Italian bakery located right in Bradford Square. It's a super bakery. I mean, even if you had to go in and pay, you would be happy because you can't get everything for free. You give away one cake. But the rest of the time, you go in, you buy a cake, you buy a cannoli, you buy a loaf of bread, you buy cookies, whatever you want. Go to Albie D's right in Bradford Square on South Main Street in Bradford, and they have free parking there because they're set back, and they have their own parking spots, so you don't have to fight for parking.
There you go.
You don't have to pay for parking.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I've heard of ice cream cake. Do they have gelato cake?
You should go and check out everything over there, John. You should go in and check
Can
out.
we sample? Was it samples?
You'd have to ask them. I've never.
I bet you we could talk
I've
about
never
the
had
samples.
anybody ask about that, but probably so.
Why not?
Sure.
Yeah. And maybe if they don't have gelato cake, maybe you can tell them they should, and maybe they would.
Maybe get a percentage.
Make one for you.
I love gelato.
Right. Yeah. John Chumley's gelato cake.
Sounds
You
great
have
to me.
your own recipe?
No.
No? No. All right.
I can make one up, though.
So, thanks for coming in tonight, guys. How was the weather coming in? I know it was just starting to spit a little bit of rain when I was coming in.
Well, we came up from our corporate offices in Lowell, and it was 495 was at a dead stop at several occasions.
Well, there were two major accidents on 495 coming
Northbound?
up. Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
We didn't see
we
either.
felt the wrath. I didn't see it either, but boy, it was backed up. It was
Yeah,
bad.
they had closed off the highway for the first one.
Really?
And I was coming in from Boston, where I had to be this morning, and I actually know my way around the secondary road, so I got off after hearing the traffic report, but the highway was closed off for the first one so that they could land helicopters. Do you go, does Trinity have med flight yet?
No.
No.
We call them, though.
Oh, okay.
We don't have
All right,
gelato
You
either.
work with them.
Boy, if we had a helicopter, we could have used it today.
Am I being rough on you, you think?
No, it's not
Oh,
good.
all right. No. Well, that's something you can have, in the years to come. Something to plan and work on, right?
We're actually very fortunate in Massachusetts. We have 3 medical helicopter systems, one at the Cape, one in the middle part of the state, and one on the eastern, the Metro Boston area.
So it seemed like there were 2. One may have already landed. One was kind of hovering, waiting for its turn, where they had.
I bet you that was a news helicopter.
That was a news helicopter.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
because there
Once
were 2.
they see the,
Yeah.
they monitor all the radio stations. They monitor.
So I did get back on 495 right after the exit that was closed down, and it was like just before the Lawrence double-decker bridge, they call it. There was a car upside down in the left lane, and I could see that another car was spun completely around, and the rear of that car was like stoved in almost up to the back window. I mean, it was like another accident occurred for whatever reason within a mile and a half of the first one.
Jeez.
Yeah, must have been
So-
texting.
Was there med flight as well?
And that one was going south. No, I don't. No, actually, there were no police. Nothing had gotten
just
there
happened.
yet. It had just happened.
Wow.
But it was another backup. It was really a bad day for traveling on 495.
I
was
hope
pretty rough.
everybody's okay.
Yeah, let's hope. Absolutely. So it's 6:15 right now, and since we've been kind of just shooting it a little bit here and just getting
We're
going,
allowed, right?
let's take our first break so that we don't have to interrupt any of the quality conversation we're going to have. How's
Or
that?
why? Who else is coming?
That's pretty good.
That's good, huh?
Thank you very much.
That's why you
why I
pay him
brought
the
'em.
big bucks.
That's why I
yeah,
brought 'em.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Chris, we're going to take our quarter past break right now on the Open Mic Show, and we'll be right back. Bill Masick here, along with John Chemley and also Chris Dick from Trinity EMS on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Masick and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900.
You're riding the local wave, 97.9 WHAV. And if you're listening on TV, it's compliments of the board, staff, and members of your local public access channel. Thanks for being tuned to the Merrimack Valley's WAVE, local news and best music. 97.9 WHAV.
In the 1964 movie Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, Betty Davis's character gives her take on the marketing discipline of public relations.
What is it you call your job? Oh, yes, public relations. Sounds like something pretty dirty to me.
All joking aside, some businesses underestimate the value of good public relations, but it plays an outsized role in an organization's success. In fact, marketing guru Guy Kawasaki says it offers organizations among the highest returns on investment. Contrary to advertising, he argues, brands are built on what people say about you, not what you're saying about yourself. Underwriting nonprofit WHAV's local news and information service demonstrates your community goodwill and attracts loyal new prospects. Small dollars, big audiences, and giant results. Call 978-374-1900 for more information. WHAV is good PR.
Community Spotlight.
The Atkinson Congregational Church debuts monthly Wednesday night dinner parties. Members of the community are invited to monthly dinner parties free of charge on the first Wednesday night of each month, starting at 6 p.m. Overseen by Pastor Jim Thomas, the effort aims to foster connections and conversation between locals, exploring what he calls hard questions over family-style meals. The 90-minute sessions take place in Lovejoy Hall, attached to the church, at 99 Main Street, Atkinson. No advance registration is required. More information is available at atkinsonconnections.org. Submit your own nonprofit events and announcements at least 3 weeks in advance. For best results, use the online form under the Contact tab at whav.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is John Lee.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we're back on the Open Mic Show. 6:18 is the time right now. I guess we're in for some bad weather tonight. Now, do you ever put weather with the kind of calls you get? Does weather ever create... Well, it creates accidents. You might
Well,
get
it does in
calls
the
for
winter.
that.
It does in the winter. And you'd be surprised, Bill, how many people, they see me the next day or they see me during the day of a snowstorm or an ice storm. They go, oh, my God, you must have been really busy, made a lot of money today, right? And I'm like... Well, you don't understand. Most of the car accidents that occur in a blizzard are generally low impact because people aren't going fast.
Right, they're sliding off.
They're sliding off the side of the road.
Gently sliding off the side of the road,
And there we are expending payroll and maintenance and oil and trucks and people and everything else, gasoline to get to the accident. And they look at us and go, no, I'm not hurt.
I'm okay.
It's a fender bender.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're running around like crazy.
But tonight we got a nor'easter coming, they say.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to
Isn't
rain
that
all
crazy?
night.
It was not. That's supposed to be snow only, but the weather guy I heard earlier today said nor'easters can come 12 months out of the year.
Yeah, there's a part of the country I was reading this morning that 17 inches of snow, 17 inches of rain they got.
Yeah, I think central Mass, western Mass, and up into New Hampshire and Vermont may get some snow, up to 2 inches.
Yes,
Anywhere
really
from
good.
a dusting to 2 inches.
Over 1,500 feet there. Talking about getting a dusting.
Yeah, some kind of snow accumulation, at least.
Crazy.
Something your eyes can see. It is unbelievable.
And we do, when it does, depend on the weather. If it's a really bad storm, we do have to, either cold weather posting. We actually bring the crews back into the hubs, and we don't post them out on the street because it's kind of dangerous for them.
Sure.
It's really cold out there. So
Yeah.
So we
So
generally
you have
put
a
extra trucks on,
protocol
too,
depending
sure.
on the weather.
Yep.
Yeah.
We try to reduce the out-of-towners as well, so no one going to Boston when you're getting 12 inches of snow.
Right, that's true. Less traffic, at least,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and some of our 911 contracts, Bill, we have 13 of them. Some of our 911 contracts will actually say, hey, why don't you put a truck or two in our in our fire station.
Sure.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
we can
makes
kind of
sense.
spread them around the town.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it works out great.
Let me just remind everybody, for the people that have just tuned in, that this is the Open Mic Show. I'm Bill Masick, your host, and we also have with us this hour for our guests. We have John Chimley and Chris Dick. They're both from Trinity EMS.
Yes, sir.
And that stands for Emergency Medical Services.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right.
You
All right.
passed.
All right.
Good job.
So I can either take my money and go home now, or I can get harder questions as the show goes on, but I
right.
could forfeit all of that money.
You
Is that
might lose all the money.
This
That's
is
right.
like a quiz show here.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Isn't that the name of that show?
It's one of them that
Yeah, I
kind of
think so.
plays like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when did you get in the game, John? How did it happen?
I've been in the business, actually, since 1977.
Wow.
When I started in the medical transportation business as a wheelchair van driver.
It was horse and buggy back then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They didn't have electricity back then, I don't think. But I started in a wheelchair van, and that was 77. And in 1981, I became an EMT. And I started with a company called Handy Van.
Yeah,
that-
I kind of remember that.
Yeah,
name.
many people would remember
Yeah.
what Handy Van. They had green and white vans running around the cities, and we started a company called Care Ambulance, C-A-R-E Ambulance.
Sure.
And we were there until I went from wheelchair van to the general manager of the company, which I left in 1990. One of my fellow EMTs, Gary Seppi, his dad was a policeman in Lowell.
Yeah.
And been there for 36 years, God bless him. And he opened some doors for us with our ambulance service. And so we went from one ambulance in 1981 to 1990. I think we had 12 or 15 ambulances at that point in time, and a couple of 911 contracts. But then, Gary and I just said, we can do this ourselves. My dad's an entrepreneur. My brother's an entrepreneur. I had the entrepreneur spirit. And I said, I can do this myself. And
So you and Gary started Trinity?
That is
Did you
correct.
start with the name Trinity right away?
Yes.
Yes.
You had a couple-
1991.
You had a couple names lined up, but tell them the story. It's a great story. I think.
Well, we had, it was going to be called, we had the name Total Transportation, and we wanted to, because we just wanted a bunch of other things. We had at the time, we had a courier service, we had a wheelchair van service and an ambulance service, and we had thought about it, but my partner Gary's brother is a priest, and he pulled us aside one day and said, no, we're going to name it Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Well, it does have that feeling that it has a religious connection.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you're not feeling well or you need an ambulance, you're probably praying to God.
Exactly. You
Most
try to,
people.
yeah.
So I think Trinity is a more than fitting name.
Well, it must be, because we've grown since 1991. We've grown from one vehicle or two vehicles to we have almost 90 now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Throughout
That's
the
good
Merrimack
for
Valley,
you.
yeah.
Congratulations on that success.
Well, again, a
And-
lot of our success.
And keep donating to your partner's brother's church.
Yes, we do, as a matter of fact. I think he's in Randolph. His name is Kevin.
Kevin Seppi, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Father Kevin.
Father
Seppi.
Kevin.
Huge,
Father
he's
Kevin.
huge.
right.
Father Kevin.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
it's a great story, So
It
you have,
is.
you have two partners that were partners on the ambulance, Gary and John, working their way up through the industry, working their way up through this company. John becomes the GM. Gary becomes more of an
He was operations
guy. And then the thing, were they going to sell the company?
Yes, they wanted to sell the company.
They want to sell, and they were going to move John and Gary out from the greater Merrimack Valley area. And they said, no. Well, let's do this ourselves. We can do this ourselves.
This is our home here. This is where we
Yeah,
live.
this is Lowell's our home.
Now, when did you come to Haverhill?
We've been in Haverhill since
2000.
actually late 1999.
Yeah.
Mr. Rorak, Jim Rorak was the mayor at the time.
Yeah, sure. And so you've grown and you have 90 ambulances now. So that means you
90 trucks, wheelchair vans, ambulances,
Okay,
major
you must
vehicles,
help a lot of people in a lot of communities.
We answer probably 75,000 calls a year.
Wow, good. That's great.
you'd be
So
surprised.
that
That's just a
transportation
medium-sized
thing you
company.
were in, you wanted to have total transportation. Is
Yeah,
that what,
yeah.
I think you're transporting a lot of people and things right now.
Yeah, we're trying to do the best
Yeah.
we can do. We're growing all the time. Chris has done a great job marketing and developing our companies. We've just, this year and late last year, we renewed all our 911 contracts.
That's great.
We have
Yeah.
13 of
Well,
them
I
now.
know how important you've been to Haverhill in more than one way. So
we
not
love it
only
here.
are you
We-
providing
we love it
your
here.
emergency services, you've also been a big supporter of our community.
Well,
Which brings me to.
go ahead.
What, are you looking for a check?
This will probably be the toughest question. No, well, no, but the mayor is. Are you thinking about keeping it Trinity Stadium? You're going to bid at least? You think you're putting? in a
Yes,
bid?
we're gonna put another bid in.
Yeah.
I reached out to Tom O'Brien, the athletic director over at Haverhill, and talked to him. Said, hey, make sure, and Steve, the purchasing agent, Steve.
Yeah.
I can't remember
Forget
his last name. Yep. And I said, when it goes out again.
If you say it, you're going to have to pay him.
That's right.
He's,
That's
he's,
right.
he's in charge of purchasing.
That's right. But I said, when it goes out again, please, let us know and we'll take a look at it, because I don't know if they were adjusting it. They were talking. I know Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien was involved with it a little bit, so
Right.
she was kind of helping out, and she reached out.
She's on the stadium commission.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yep. I know a lot of gentlemen and ladies have reached out to us, and we do love it over there. So we're going to.
It's surprising we were the only bidder.
Yeah.
The first time you were the only bidder.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even think I knew that.
Yeah,
but-
we were the,
but
well, not
I
the
thought
last
you were
time.
the top bidder.
Not the first time, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But this time, when they renewed the bid in the last few weeks, we were the only bidder.
Oh, you were the
Couple
only
months,
bidder.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we were the only bidder, so I think they wanted to see if they could get some more money.
Yeah.
And maybe get some more interest.
Right.
Which I don't blame them. If they can.
So you
if
think
can
they
get it.
might go for a second round?
Yes, I believe that's
Really?
what they're going to do.
They you know what? They should get it out, to more tentacles. Get it out there to more corporations and see,
Okay.
maybe
All right.
see what comes in.
All right.
I would
well,
think
that's,
there's a lot of
that's
people
very
here that
kind of you to say that, because somebody else will say, "Hey, we bid. Nobody else bid. Our bid is the high bid, so we get it for 5 more years for that bid."
Yeah. But there's
But-
a minimum that they're looking for, and I'm going to tell you that we were very excited having it for the last 8 years. We're very excited
Yeah.
because the marketing of it, the visual of it, the Trinity Stadium sign.
Right.
Haverhill, their football team was crazy good
Yeah.
a couple years ago.
Yeah,
It
we've-
was all over Channel 5 and Channel 7, and they kept talking about Trinity Stadium, Trinity Stadium, Trinity Stadium. So I was really excited about that. I thought it was just a wonderful thing that we did.
It has been good, yeah.
I would think so.
And as the old saying is, all things must pass, right? I think George Harrison said that.
I think
That's
you
right,
did.
that's
Yeah. But we are definitely going to put another bid in.
Yeah, we'll take
Good.
a look. Yeah,
Good.
Take a look
Well,
and see what we want to do with it.
I wish you luck.
Thank you, cheapest. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, fortunately, that's something that the council doesn't get really deeply involved with, so. I
You got
have,
enough to
I
worry
have,
about.
I have no sway, John, I can't help you.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's $20. See what you can do. Only
Okay.
kidding, folks. Only
All
kidding,
right.
folks.
No, only kidding is right. Okay, this is the Open Mic Show. I'm Bill Masick, and also we are going to be speaking with John and Chris from Trinity EMS. How many people say EMS after that? A lot?
Ooh, not many.
Not many.
Not many anymore.
It's not Trinity EMS Stadium, is it?
Nope.
It's not on the sign. I think it just says Trinity.
I think we at the bottom,
Does
we
it-
have the
does it
emergency medical services on the bottom, but
real
it's-
small?
but we said, Trinity Stadium,
very
it just
small.
flows
Trinity
a lot.
Stadium sounds good.
It flows
Yeah.
real nice, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, John and Chris are here. If you'd like to call in, if you have a question about anything involving his emergency medical services, what's this bill I got sent here? How come it's, this number? If you want to call and talk to John about it,
Fire away.
you can do that, right?
Sure.
Yeah, you'll put it off to your
To Robin.
to Robin.
We'll
see,
talk
yeah.
about that.
That's the way it worked. All right. Trinity is a great company. They're in the Merrimack Valley. You in southern New Hampshire too?
Yes, we have 6 911 towns and some nursing homes in New Hampshire. The 911 towns we have are Hampstead. Chris is going to rip them off for me. Hampstead, Newton, Plastow, Atkinson, Sandown,
Okay.
and I missed
Danville.
And Danville.
So-
I knew I was going to miss
Well,
one.
he's the advertising guy.
That's
He
the
should
guy.
know. You're not here
the
doing
guy.
advertising. He's here to advertise.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
He
on
spends all
social
the money.
media and everything. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. He
So,
gives me a lot of rope,
No, so now you have to bid on the Haverhill contract too, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Although
is
this
that
year we
annual?
renegotiated.
Is it annual or
Oh,
is
no,
it?
it's every it's every 3 to 5 years.
It's every 3 to 5 years. Yeah, that's
the
what I
problem
thought.
with our company is, or my industry is, we live every 3 to 5 years, we have to renew our contracts again. And
Hey, it's like being on the city council every 2 years.
Yeah.
I have to renew my contract. The mayor every 2 years. It's
I think Congress is even 2
Congress
years.
is 2 years.
I don't understand how you all can.
It's too
seems
quick.
like the minute.
You know what? I don't think
minute
it's
you-
even a good idea, because what happens is that certain things either get sluggish or get pushed off in the election year. I don't, but other, I won't say who, but I've had other colleagues, in my time on the council say, "Oh, let's not touch that till after the election." So it slows things down.
And then once you get in, you start running for
Right.
again. It's like you got to start running again.
Well,
you got 6 months, and then you got to start raising money.
You get a year, but
Yeah.
after the federal state election in
Sure.
November, it's really election year for
Yeah.
the next time. So and you can feel it, just kind of the change and
Yeah.
just the way things are handled.
Sure.
Not everything, but and I'm not trying to point the finger at anybody.
No.
I mean, we have a very strong council, but I
How
think
long have you been a counselor?
I've been on 16 years, 8 terms since
Wow.
I came back. But I first ran when I was a very young man. And I remember what I don't hear anymore that I heard when in my first 4 terms. I did 8 years from 84 to 92. People used to say to me, "Oh, you're such a nice young man."
Yeah.
And I'm not hearing that anymore.
So are you the dean of the delegation?
Once in a while, my colleagues, especially
like that.
President Mitchelton, will say Dean Masick, and I like it too. It's an honor.
It is,
for
sure.
that to even be stated. But
Sure.
I have been around long enough that I know a lot, and sometimes I'm helpful, letting my colleagues or people know how things have transpired in the past, so you don't, as the old saying again goes, you don't want to repeat the same mistake. So
Sure.
if you know what the mistake was, you don't repeat it.
Sure.
So I think I sometimes help out that way. I know the parliamentary procedures pretty good,
Right.
and the way things
Which is important, because
come and
meetings
go.
can get out of control if.
They can,
Yeah.
but we have a pretty good. We're pretty compatible.
Yeah.
We don't always agree on everything, and that would be bad anyway, because then would just be a bunch of bobbleheads.
Yeah, you couldn't get anything done if you all
no.
agreed,
So
for
you have
sure.
to. But you know what? When you have different opinions and you don't make it personal, and that's one thing that I think is really important. You can agree to disagree on one item, and then the next item you can be in lockstep together in 100% agreement. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't have something that you disagree about get personal or get in your way of being a comrade in the next item.
Right,
So that's the way I handle it, and I most of the time that's the way the council handles
Who's the
things.
chair now?
President Mitchelson.
He's been president for a while.
He
right?
has been, yeah.
For
And it's based on top vote getter, pretty
Oh,
much.
okay.
We're not required to do that, but as a courtesy to the top vote getter, it's been a tradition. There has been, I think, once or twice when the top vote getter was not given the honor of being president.
See, in other towns, that's not how it is at all.
No. Well, the school committee
all.
rotates. You think about
Right.
when they redid when they did the charter for a strong mayor form of government. It was back in the '60s, and they created the school committee and the city council. We're 9 councilors at large too. That's kind of odd, but I think it's the way to go. But once in a while you hear a little uprising that we should have ward councilors, but we have 9 people that will run to any sector, any corner of the city and care, because votes depend on it.
Right.
Service depends
Sure.
on it. So they did that. It's 9 at large, and then the school committee, they take 3 and 3. They give them 4-year terms, and they divide it down the middle. So every 2 years, there's 3 going up for re-election, but the other 3 are riding out just the years 3 and 4. So it's completely different. And of course, the mayor's the chair of the school committee.
Right.
But they don't have, at least a portion, half the school committee doesn't have that kind of dark cloud of the election's
Agreed.
close.
Yeah.
So they probably can accomplish more and get through tougher issues without pushing them off. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back on the Open Mic Show. Bill Masick here, along with Chris and John, or John and Chris, however we
Whatever
prefer,
you like.
whatever we
The
like.
John and Chris show, we call it.
Yeah.
That's what we do call it, that
That's
too.
it. All right, we'll be right back on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Masick and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900.
It's 6:36.
Know what's happening. Sign up for your free Wavelengths newsletter. Online all the time at WHAV.net and 24/7 on 97.9 WHAV FM. Did you know radio still reaches more than 93% of people of every age, every week? It's a fact. 97.9 WHAV Merrimack Valley audience averages 93% of everyone. As other media cuts back, folks in our area are turning to 97.9 WHAV for local news, information, and the best music anywhere. At 97.9 WHAV, listeners know our business messages are more credible, more trustworthy than other advertising. Learn how 97.9 WHAV connects your business with more people than all other local media combined. Call 978-374-1900. 374-1900 or online anytime at WHAV.net.
Wave weather.
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill in the Merrimack Valley. Fog and rain around for a good portion of the night. Very chilly as well. A low of 39. Wind gusts up to 20 miles per hour at times out of the northeast. It'll die down slightly to a 15 miles per hour or less on Tuesday. Showers possible in the morning and then drying out for the most part. Only 45 degrees. Back to around 40, an isolated shower Tuesday night. And then mostly cloudy and recovering slightly into the upper 50s for Wednesday. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
Catch the wave. WHAV. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are back on the Open Mic Show, 6:38. Bill Maxwell, along with John Chenley and also Chris Dick from Trinity EMS. And we're just kind of chatting it up tonight. And if somebody would like to join the conversation, they can do that at 978-374-1900. I know we have a lot of listeners because people always tell me, hey, I heard you Monday night when you were talking to Chris and John, that kind of stuff. But
Well, that was your mother, wasn't it?
they don't call in. They don't call in. And I have a feeling why, and maybe we can figure out a way to rectify this, but so many people say, I said, well, why don't you call in, join the conversation? And they say, oh, no, people will recognize my voice, and I might be embarrassed. But I think we need a voice changer. So maybe, I'm going to talk to Tim, and maybe
cover it up. You can mute it or something.
Get some kind of a
you can blur their face.
of a voice change. No, we won't get their face. We are also on WHAV.tv.
Yep.
We're on Facebook, and Tim posts it, and we're really available around the world, and we're archived for forever. You know how they say if you get on the internet, you can't ever take it down. So
That's right.
this is a permanent, indelible show that will always be available.
There's a radio
So
station
be careful
in
what
Lowell.
you say.
There was one in Lowell that you would know about, WLLH.
Yes, I
They
worked
were,
there. I worked there at one time.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, Paul Sullivan was the host.
Great guy.
And
Yeah.
he was in 38 states. I didn't realize that he had listeners in 38 states
No kidding.
on that show.
And this is before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Ken on the line. We have a caller, and he's willing to use his own voice. Hello,
All right.
hello,
Hi,
Ken.
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
Oh,
How about yourself?
Kenny, how
I'm
are
good,
you?
sir. I've never met you gentlemen personally, but I just want to give you a thank you for what you do for the service, not just for Haverhill, throughout the Merrimack Valley area. That's pretty much I want to, you do awesome service.
Well, it's very nice of you to call, Ken.
They
I
do.
appreciate that.
They do.
I owe you
I
$20.
work in the medical field, but I do personal care, and some of the people feedback I get from people. Hey, Trinity is a great organization, great place, and when I need something, they get me there, and so forth. So that's all I wanted to say, gentlemen. Maybe someday I'd like to meet you, gentlemen.
Well, we'd
All
like
right?
to shake your hand, Ken.
Your service.
And thank you.
Thank
While
you.
you're talking
very
about
much.
that, Ken, I'd like you to give a shout out to the mayor, because if it wasn't for him, then we wouldn't be
Wouldn't
able to
be
do
here.
what we do
That's
here.
right.
He's the one.
No, you actually came in under Rorak, you said, though. Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate the call.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. You came in under Mayor Rorak.
Yep.
And then
Jim
you
Rorak.
continued.
And then we continued,
with John Guerin.
Yeah,
Mayor
John Guerin, and then
And then you.
Fiorentini took over from then, and
he
he's
took
been
over,
very kind to
right,
us.
16. He's in his 16th year right now as mayor, and he was on the council before that.
Is that the
It
record?
when it is for mayor, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got back on when he became mayor. I never served with him as a councilor, but he's been mayor as long as I've been a councilor for my my second stint.
Now, was he on the council at any time?
He was. He was on. I think he
the
was
mayor
on
was?
for three years. I think he
I
was.
heard
I think
that.
he started in '95.
Yeah.
And so he was on for probably 4 terms, I'm guessing, as a councilor, 8 years, and then he went on to run for mayor and became mayor.
Well, he's been very proactive, and he's very forward-thinking with us, so
He
we just
is.
want to, we appreciate everything. When people talk to me about what Ken just said, I said, well, thank the mayor, he's given us the opportunity to
Absolutely.
do it, so.
Yeah. Well, he'd only do that if he knew it was a good thing for the community.
We hope so. I know he has
And-
several
and-
choices he could have had, but
Yeah.
he chooses Trinity, so
Yeah.
we're very thankful for that.
And the fire chief and police chief, too. I
Oh,
mean,
for
they-
sure. You kidding me? Both of them are total supporters of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful to work with.
We got good people in the city. I always say that. The one thing special about Haverhill is its people.
Yeah.
And even though we have a lot of other good things happening too, we have such great people in this community. We're very fortunate, and especially for a lot of the people that work for the city that we've had over the years. Some of them have retired, but somehow we find good replacements too, and they're just such good people.
I tell you, it's great, and I don't mean to cut you off, Johnny, but the men and women of the fire department and the police department up here do nothing but support us. I mean, talk about being part of the team. They just open doors, and they back us up. We back them up. They make us look good. We make them look good, and we just work so well together. It's been a great almost 20 years up here. So.
Yeah, we have a
Now,
great relationship.
I got a
with
question.
police
You
and
mentioned
fire.
the fire department.
Sure.
Because people ask me about this now and then, and I know the answer, but I want it to come from you because I think you'll probably state it better. People ask why the fire department has to show up when there's a call for an ambulance. And I'll leave it at that, and you can explain how it's like hand in glove and how you guys work together.
There's certain situations, i.e. cardiac arrests and high-impact car accidents and very sick people, stay away, trying to drag someone up and down or down a set of stairs that are in a stair chair, et cetera, et cetera. We need a second and third set of hands, to help us. And they've been tremendous with us. Just, I can't tell you, when we were first here, we had a little issues with certain things because we're a new company and they didn't know who we were, we didn't know who they were. But it has smoothed out over the last number of years. Just, I get the same calls, Bill. I get people calling me going, John, why do I have a police cruiser and 2 fire engines and 2 ambulances in my driveway when all I wanted to do was take my dad to the emergency room?
Yeah, sometimes I know a few people that were wondering that same thing, and I had to explain to them that, you may say, oh, he just fell down and he's fine, I just want to have him transported, but you've got to make sure that that's a proper diagnosis you're getting over the phone, so everybody has to show up. It's better that you have too much support and service than not enough.
Especially the way they're all trained today.
Right.
The police and the fire are EMTs, and some are even paramedics on the fire department. So it's just an amazing adjunct.
And I
is
should
with
also
us.
mention that, not only are you running a business in Haverhill, you have made a big commitment to your facility and the size of your facility, your help. So, you're an important part of what happens in Haverhill.
Well, Chris will tell you about our
You
second
don't
facility in
drive
Haverhill.
from Lowell every time you get a call.
No, we have a great location. We actually rent from Tommy DePietro over on Stewart Street.
Right.
That's a large building.
That's a large facility.
And we grew so much up in this area. We actually opened up a second location right over on Avco Road, right where your neighbor, right down the street.
Okay.
That we post out of there as well to cover this side of the city. So it's kind of helps us with response times.
Well, your response times,
exactly,
is
exactly.
important.
Well, that's why we did it. If we like to be 8 minutes or less 90% of the time, and there are sometimes in snowstorms or in traffic, or it depends on the time of day. There are sometimes it just can't happen. So we decided, you know what? Let's open up another base.
Yep.
Which is what we did.
Good. All right, we're going to take our final break. And then we'll be back and we'll take it up till 7 o'clock. Okay,
Perfect.
guys? All right.
Sounds great.
All right. Talking to John Chemley and Chris Dick from Trinity EMS on the Open Mic Show. I'm Bill Masick. We'll be right back right here on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic!
Bill Masick and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900.
Hear live and local talk with Bill Masick on the Open Mic Show. Monday evenings at 6 here on 97.9 WHAV. And see it live online at WHAV.tv and on Facebook. Your only Haverhill-based news source is The Wave, 97.9 WHAV.
In the 1964 movie Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, Betty Davis's character gives her take on the marketing discipline of public relations.
What is it you call your job? Oh, yes, public relations. Sounds like something pretty dirty to me.
All joking aside, some businesses underestimate the value of good public relations, but it plays an outsized role in an organization's success. In fact, marketing guru Guy Kawasaki says it offers organizations among the highest returns on investment. Contrary to advertising, he argues, brands are built on what people say about you, not what you're saying about yourself. Underwriting nonprofit WHAV's local news and information service demonstrates your community goodwill and attracts loyal new prospects. Small dollars, big audiences, and giant results. Call 978-374-1900 for more information. WHAV is good PR.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
That you did.
And we're back on the Open Mic Show, 648, moving right along here, talking to Trinity EMS, John Chemley, and also Chris Dick. And they are here because they are talking about what it's all about to run an emergency medical service, right? We have somebody on hold, and then we'll get back to some more of our discussion, okay?
That'd
But
be
let's
great.
see who this caller is. Hello, caller. Are you there? Oh, our producer said they didn't want to wait for the break, I guess. They probably had to put another dime in, or maybe they ran out of quarters. So, they must have got cut off. Sure. Remember those days?
Oh, God.
Coin
Yeah,
offs?
yeah.
If you didn't have any more change and you weren't quite done, you might get cut off. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm showing my age again.
There you go.
But,
I'm right there with
that's
you.
it.
So
Yep.
I'm probably older than you.
Well, I don't know about that. But anyway, we're in the same bracket. But you look younger than I do.
You guys want to be alone?
No. Anyway, this is experience talking.
That's
right.
Right? And it's
Absolutely.
good to know what's happened in our country, in our little neck of the woods here.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, we now all carry cell phones, and those are our main lines, almost. That's
Well,
why
now with
I think of mine as being my main phone line, even though I have a landline and an answering service still, because I need to be responsible and available.
Nobody calls except solicitors.
Yeah.
Other than that, nobody
Oh.
calls our house phone. Everybody
Even
calls
my
ourselves.
cell phone, I get so many
it's
telemarketing calls. It's
Yeah, we do the
it's
same
just
thing, yeah.
outrageous.
It's ridiculous.
It's getting worse and worse.
But it's good for 911, Bill.
It is.
It
It's
is?
good for 911.
Yeah, okay.
Now the cell phones all, there's no more you go to a regional, if they dial 911, it used to be you had to, that call went to a regional area, and that regional area, whether it be Framingham, our state police in Framingham, then they transfer it to whatever town we were in, et cetera, et cetera. But now the call will go directly
Where it should go.
Yep, directly
Good.
to where it should go.
Good. Yeah, well, that's technology.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, we got about 10 minutes left on our show. Is there anything, like you had mentioned earlier off mic that you have some event coming up, or there some week or something, or some, what's that all about?
Yeah, so, obviously, it's an annual thing, but EMS Week is next week. So it's just, a week, as last week was Nurses Week. It's a week that we celebrate all our EMS professionals, men and women, and just kind of salute them. And with Trinity, we do certain things every year. Each year is different. Some years we do, we buy ice cream and food for them every day. They can go, we have 3 or 4 different restaurants in the area, and they can go there and they put it on the Trinity tab, and we pay up at the end of the week. And some years we do sweatshirts and V-ups or quarter zips and all that fun stuff. This year we're doing a little something we haven't done yet, and we have some Red Sox tickets we're giving out, and just a little thanks to our crews. We're going to roll out the grills, and John and Gary are going to cook some hot dogs and hamburgers for lunch a couple days. And
Hey, when are we doing that again?
You're doing that in Haverhill?
yeah, we're going to do it up in Haverhill in our hub down in Lowell.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, good. We'll get back to that probably right before you leave, so everybody will have that fresh in their mind. But we have another caller on hold, so let's go to that call. Hello, caller.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I recognize that voice.
Who's that? Let me see. Mom, is that
I
you?
wanted to call in and say thank you to Trinity, to John and Chris for all of the amazing things they do in the community. They really are the best, and we are so lucky to have them in town. So
I agree. No argument there.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. That's very nice of you. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate that. We just follow your lead. All the things you guys do over at the bank and what you do in your nonprofit hours, too. I know what you do, and it's great to have you around that I can call up and even kind of pick your brain a little bit and, ask you some questions on what's going on at paper. So you're a big help to us, too. So we love you,
thank you.
too.
Likewise, and Pentucket Bank really values the partnership between Trinity and the bank as well. So let's just keep it up.
Yeah, you were actually, Leanne, you were the Pawtucket situation with Scott Cody and Mr. Smith there years ago, where they were our first forte into the city. They were our first friends, and we've remained friends ever since. And we have, Chris isn't kidding, Leanne. We totally follow your lead on a lot of stuff that you guys do. So we want to thank you for being mentors to us as well. And you've been a wonderful community person. I think you're still on a bunch of committees and, the Exchange Club and all that stuff that you do. God bless you, Leanne. Thank you for helping us out.
Thank you. But today's about you guys, so as you know, the labor of love it is in the community,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for calling in, Leanne, and thanks for listening to the Open Mic Show.
Always, of course.
All right. Thank
Thanks
you very
very
much. You're the best.
See you,
Thank
Lee.
you. Okay.
All right, bye, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. That was good. We're going to be here until 7 o'clock on the Open Mic Show with John and Chris from Trinity EMS, and then we're going to be breaking for top of the hour news and information. And then next hour, we're going to have Keith Boucher from Make It Haverhill. And he's dealing also with the Mount Washington area and doing some incredible stuff trying to rejuvenate and help people. And we're going to be getting into all that discussion in the 7 o'clock hour. So just want to let our listeners and viewers know that they shouldn't go anyplace. They should stick with us until 8 o'clock. And next week, I'm going to do a little pre-promotion, which is something that I don't normally do. But next week's show, in the first hour, I've lined up City Council President John Mitchison to come in. But in the second hour, I find this to be almost a coup because I called and asked, and he said he would come on. We're going to have the 7 o'clock hour next week with our former state representative and chairman, Brian Dempsey, is coming on the Open Mic Show.
What a great
and he
guy.
said he would do it.
Yeah.
And I said, will you take phone calls and questions? He said, sure, why not?
he's a great guy.
So
Yeah.
That's a score.
We're bringing him back into the
Beautiful.
public eye
He's a
for
great
1
guy.
hour.
Yeah.
That's a score.
Yeah, that's a good score. So we're going to be doing that on the Open Mic next week.
As long as we're not talking about today's stock exchange, I think we're okay.
Oh, boy.
in the China tariffs and that
Well,
stuff.
the market just got
we don't.
crushed
We,
all week.
you know, that's why. Tim and I have agreed. This show is about Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley.
There you go.
We're not getting into even national stuff, let alone international stuff.
Good.
Yeah, no, we keep it focused.
That's it.
And I find it to be very enjoyable and informative.
Yeah, and there's so much going on in downtown. I mean, I love the downtown Haverhill area. All the restaurants and bars.
it's very cool.
And the buildings now with Haverhill, with Sally Sorosol's building.
Harbor Place?
Harbor Place.
Yeah, and Sal's putting a beautiful building up.
10 stories.
Man, it's just, it's phenomenal. I love, when we come up here, we usually, once we leave the event, we'll sneak downtown and maybe go to
Yeah.
a local.
We can't say where.
We can't say
yeah,
where
We
because
got
they might
great-
not be in
right,
advertising.
We got great
Martini
places,
somewhere.
but we, Haverhill is developing a skyline.
I love it.
We've
Yeah. I
got
think it's
so many
wonderful.
restaurants that it's
Yeah.
one of the few
Delicious.
places that, certain other communities in the Merrimack Valley have it, but you can park your car once.
Yep.
And you can walk around, do different places, you can shop, you can eat here, you can drink there, you can hear different types of music. And it's like it's almost like Bourbon Street.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. I really enjoy it up here. I think our successes up here and being involved in the community, but just the downtown's a wonderful
It
spot.
really
love
is.
it.
It's really coming along.
Yep.
Done a great job.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, we are down to about 3.5 minutes before we have to say goodbye. So anything
Already?
else you'd like to add? Yeah. Doesn't time fly when you're doing radio?
It does.
Oh, boy.
It does. Yeah. It's a great conversation we've had. A lot of information, few phone calls, and people I think know more about Trinity EMS. And when they need your service, I'm sure they're going to. They would just dial 911, right?
That's
In
it.
Haverhill, they just dial 911.
Yes, but we have a transportation service as well, where you dial, the regular number. Don't ask me what it is.
521-9111.
Thank you.
That's easy. 521-9111.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That'll go right into our dispatch center, and if there's a non-emergency situation where you need transportation, we will.
Yeah, my point is you don't have to
But
dial
if they
911.
but if they don't remember that number, they could just go Google phone number for Trinity EMS.
That's right. And we also have
and
social
And you
media.
get, that's the way I get a lot of my phone numbers.
We have website. We have a
Look at our
beautiful
webpage
website.
too. We have
Yeah.
a great website.
Yeah.
Chris keeps up with on Facebook. He does.
Facebook, Twitter, and we
Twitter.
have Instagram as well. So we have a good time with it.
Well, you run a great operation, and you keep growing little by little. You still want more
Smart growth,
You
smart
want
growth.
Smart growth,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, we want more, but
Yeah.
we want, again, as
But-
Chris said,
but-
we want smart growth. We've had opportunities. We get calls all the time. We get a call from several surrounding, not even surrounding towns, I
North
shouldn't say
Shore
that,
and-
from the North Shore and from the Seacoast area. We come up and do some of their work, but it's not contiguous to us, and we opened a shop down in Norwood years ago that was 51 miles from
Yeah.
our corporate offices, and it just didn't work.
Did-
It just
yeah.
didn't work.
Well, that's see that.
So if we're going to
again,
grow, we want to be. We
you want to do it right
contiguously
or
and
not do it at
right.
all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's smart.
Gotta make sense,
That
yeah.
is smart. And it's been really great for you guys to come in and.
Well, geez, thanks for having us.
And anytime WHAV or the open mic can be of any assistance to you, you have something to announce, like you were talking about the week that's coming up.
EMS
Why don't
week,
you
yeah.
do that one more time?
Yeah, again,
Chris, go ahead.
EMS week it starts on Sunday, just for the whole week, just again to celebrate all those first responders and emergency medical services men and women that are out there that work on the ambulances or in the fire trucks, police truck, the police cars, and
Yeah, it's
just-
all of us together. It's
yeah,
all
that's
a
it.
big
It's
team.
a big team, and just something
So
that we
you-
do. We do locally. We give all our crew. We have 340 employees,
That's what I was going to just ask.
full time, part time, per diem, and all
Wow.
that. And we give them all a gift. This year we're doing a gift, and we're raffling off. We have there's an EMS week baseball game at the Red Sox next
Right.
in 10 days. So that we have some tickets to that. We're raffling off to our employees. So
Well,
they're all
it sounds
excited
like
about that.
not only do you treat your patients right, you treat your people right too.
They're-
Yeah.
they're
you
out
have
there
to.
That's the
doing
way
it
to
every
do
day.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to. You
Okay.
see the situation today is unemployment is so low that
I know you got to
We
keep.
wanna keep the
you want to
people.
keep
Yeah,
good
exactly,
people.
exactly.
That's the way I always felt too. Yeah, take care of your people. All right. Well, thank you again, John Chemley and Chris Dick from Trinity EMS.
this has been great. Thank you
And
so
Thank you,
much.
Council.
it's
Yes.
been a nice conversation, and I'm sure there are some people that have enjoyed our conversation, and
Absolutely.
they will keep you at the top of their mind whenever they need your services.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
We
And thank you
appreciate
for
it.
all you do for Haverhill, too.
Thank you.
It's a
I
pleasure.
can't say that enough.
Thank you for the
Thanks
opportunity.
a lot. Okay, we're going to take a break for the top of our information, and we'll be right back right here on the Open Mic Show. It is 7 o'clock on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Masick and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900.
It's 7 o'clock.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Here's the latest WHAV news. I'm Wynn Damon. Haverhill parents, it's time to plan ahead. The school system has released the 2019-2020 calendar, and students in grades 1 through 12 are set to report for the first day of school on Tuesday, August 27th. First week back is going to be a short one for students who will take a Labor Day recess from the early afternoon of Friday, August 30th through Monday, September 2nd. Pre-K and kindergarten students report on Tuesday, September 3rd. The scheduled 180th day of school is Friday, June 12th, with a 5-day weather allowance, putting the final day for students at June 19th. 13 of Haverhill High's future teachers received a unique honor Thursday from their Hilly peers and faculty members at the school's first annual Signing Day ceremony, held to recognize their achievements and wish them well as they officially announced their intentions to pursue a career in teaching. Haverhill High Principal Glenn Burns, Superintendent Margaret Murata, joined Brian Devine from the State's Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, along with family members and representatives from the students' chosen colleges, to celebrate the seniors as they signed letters of intent to their respective schools. Burns told the students, set to graduate May 31st, he hopes they never forget their brown and gold roots.
I know that my children will be in good hands with great people like you in front of them teaching them. And I'm really proud to certainly call you my colleague in a few short years.
And School Superintendent Margaret Murata told the students to focus on the positives as they pursue their dreams of a career in the classroom.
Unfortunately, I think teaching is an underappreciated profession in many ways, but it's so personally rewarding and such a wonderful opportunity that I just want to thank you all and wish you all the best in the future.
For photos from the signing day, you can visit WHAV.net. And Haverhill police arresting 3 people late Saturday morning on fentanyl trafficking charges. The arrest came during a traffic stop on 495 northbound. Taken into custody, all from Maine, were 35-year-old Crystal Perry of Lewiston, 41-year-old Christopher McFarland, and 42-year-old Matthew Byrus, both from Litchfield. Byrus was also charged with carrying a firearm without a license. The arresting officer was Dana Burrell. In WHAV Sports, an off night tonight for the Red Sox and the Bruins. Bruins are going to be taking on the Carolina Hurricanes tomorrow night in Carolina. They lead the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Finals 2-0. And the Red Sox are going to be hosting the Colorado Rockies tomorrow night. The New England Revolution are preparing for a friendly with English Premier League side Chelsea on Wednesday night. Proceeds are to help fight racism. On the high school sports schedule for today in baseball, it's April at Dracut, Methuen at Chelmsford, Central Catholic at Boston College High School, Amesbury at Whittier, and St. George's at Brooks. In softball, it's Methuen at Central Catholic, North Andover at Lowell, Newburyport at Pentucket, Greater Lawrence at Whittier, and Brooks at Phillips Exeter. In college baseball today, Northern Essex Community College meets Community College of Rhode Island in the NJCAA Region 21 Championship round at the New England Baseball Complex in Northborough. And in men's lacrosse, Merrimack has advanced to the NCAA Championship semifinals. They are going to be taking on Lemoyne in Syracuse on Saturday. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source, and there is always more at WHAV.net, where you can sign up for free digital news headlines. From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is Wynn Damon.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Harry Horton. China is raising tariffs on $60 billion worth of US goods starting on June the 1st. The move further escalates a trade war between the countries. An American explorer has found plastic waste on the floor of the Pacific Ocean's Mariana Trench while breaking the record for the deepest ever dive. And Doris Day, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, has died aged 97.
WAVE weather.
Now your WAVE weather forecast for Haverhill in the Merrimack Valley. Fog and rain around for a good portion of the night. Very chilly as well. A low of 39. Wind gusts up to 20 miles per hour at times out of the northeast. It'll die down slightly to a 15 miles per hour or less on Tuesday. Showers possible in the morning and then drying out for the most part. Only 45 degrees. Back to around 40, an isolated shower Tuesday night. And then mostly cloudy and recovering slightly into the upper 50s for Wednesday. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next WAVE weather in 30 minutes.
You're riding the local wave, 97.9 WHAV FM. And if you're listening on TV, it's compliments of the board, staff, and members of your local public access channel. Thanks for being tuned in to the Merrimack Valley's Wave. Local news and the best music. 97.9 WHAV. Broadcasting on the Armstrong FM system, this is 97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave, WHAV, Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are beginning our second hour here on the Open Mic Show. Bill Masick, your host tonight, and it's just about 7:07. And this hour, we're going to be talking with two people. We have two special people here in Haverhill. We have Keith Boucher, who is the co-founder of Make It Haverhill, and also John Cuneo. You are the president and CEO of Community Action?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay.
And the other co-founder of Make It Haverhill.
And the other co-founder of Make It Haverhill. Okay, can you pull that mic up pull it right up a little higher so your voice will go right into it?
Okay, is that
All right.
better? Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Keith. Okay, so I wanted to, I invited Keith onto the show because I think you're doing some really special stuff up in the Merrimack, the Mount Washington area, not the Merrimack Valley, just the Mount Washington area. Yeah. But I would rather not even try to explain it. I think you'd be better at it and you'll cover it better. So you have not just one thing, but multiple things going on.
Yeah, we do. You know, I mean, we've been in, my wife and I moved to Haverhill. I think it was back in 2009. We started out on Westland Terrace out in the Highlands there and lived there for a while and got involved with the spiritual community called The Vine, which was Melissa and Ben Yosua Davis were a couple of folks that did this thing called The Vine. And, you know, they just wanted to do good things, sort of like an urban ministry type of thing.
Sure.
And, they had an affinity as we did as it grew with Mount Washington, and my wife and I ended up moving to the other side to Mount Washington. We bought an old Victorian that needed some significant work, and we started up Urban Kindness. And,
I remember when you used to come to the council and you explained that to us a number of times, and it really says something about you and your caring for the community in the area that you live in.
Well, you know, it's you know, I mean, you could probably go back to my mother. My mother kind of got me started on this whole thing. I remember when I was a kid, you know, just one summer back in the 60s, we couldn't buy grapes. And I said, why can't we buy grapes? Because, you know, Cesar Chavez and the whole United Farm Workers were just being treated poorly, you know. So that's something like that was just something that stuck with me over the years. And, but anyways, we decided to do this. And, you know, it wasn't just my wife and I, and it wasn't just Ben and Melissa Yosua Davis. This became sort of like, say, about 7, 8, 9, 10 people in Mount Washington that just wanted to do better. Hartel Johnson, Patty and Dan Weber, Josh Bauer, Lisa Bellis, you know, Kat Hobbs Everett was involved with us with Urban Kindness for a while. So, I mean, everybody was getting together. It was like pretty basic, easy stuff. It was things like we did these things called trash talks. It sounds like, you know, we think trash talks, like what are you talking about?
Okay.
But it's picking up trash and then actually talking to people. Because if you walk in Mount Washington, nobody talks to each other. But I mean, when I walk, you know, if not every day, every other day in the neighborhood. You just have to talk to people, and just to get to know people. And
Sure.
There's people that that are working. There's people that don't work. There's people that work second shift that are out during the day, and it's just about getting to know people. So, anyways, to make a long story short, we did the Urban Kindness thing, and then I got drafted to become involved with this whole Mount Washington Alliance. And John's the chair of that Mount Washington Alliance. Gretchen Arndt's from Emmaus House here in Haverhill. The homeless shelter and all the great things they do with housing people in the city that need a little bit of help. She got me involved with that, and we did the Mount Washington Alliance thing. They continue to do great things, but we looked at a building. John and I, as part of Mount Washington Alliance on 301 Washington Street. It used to be. I remember Tom Sullivan telling me if you ever bought your first, if you were like say 60 years old or older, or like say late 50s, whatever, it used to be Benedetti's
Shoe Store.
Yep.
That's
So
right.
I
remember,
you might have gotten your first pair of shoes there.
Yeah.
So I've had so many people come by with the door open when we've been working there to say, yeah, I used to come here for this and that. Then it was the Garibaldi Club, and then I think when the guy that bought it before me, who was an absentee landlord, lived in Salem and everything, and he was just renting it out for parties. But before that, it was like the New England Sportsman's Club, and there were smoke eaters in there, and like places to cook food and probably drink beers and watch sports and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, John and I went to look at the building, and it wasn't really the right time, right, John, for Mount Washington Alliance to buy a building. And so, that was back in 2016. And then 2017, I just said, that is the only building in the Mount Washington neighborhood that could be anything. Okay, there's just no other places of assembly short of a 2 or 3 different churches. They're going to, the old St. George's Church up the street from us, which is pretty much derelict and going to be, reconfigured into some great housing for some folks. Anyways, make a long story short, I purchased the building out of my retirement funds and just started to do some, brainstorming with Matt Juros and the city council on what could we do there, and again talk to Noah Koritz. Noah Koritz used to be. I know Noah. Yeah, urban planner.
Yeah.
He's now a VP, I think, with Mass Development.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
he said basically, try to do a collaborative workspace or makerspace or something like that. And at the end of the day. We tried to get a $250,000 grant. Mount Washington Alliance. We all got together and tried to do this. We fell flat on our face. It just wasn't the right time. There was no way we were going to get $250,000. But you just don't know what you don't know. And I've always had the mantra, think big or go home. Because you gotta try to do these things. So.
Well, I give you a lot of credit for that, and you still made it happen, even though you didn't get the grant money. You figured out a way to make it happen.
Well, and that's where I think John comes in. And John, jump in. Anytime here. Just John and I really.
You're doing fine.
We worked on this kind of thing together. It became a non-Mount Washington Alliance type of situation. And, as John and I talked more and more, and we talked, I'd say, for about a year, and I think we really got serious about trying to make this thing happen, and as I like to say, bringing John to the altar, community action to the altar. We saw where this could take, what community action does. They have a great continuum of programs, anti-poverty programs, where we could actually take, the folks. What's that?
We can build.
We can build on it, So I think around the October-November timeframe of last year, John kind of signed on board. We started thinking about a lease. We started thinking about programs. We started thinking about how we were going to fund it. We got some generous donations from some businesses in the neighborhood. I think I'm okay to say this because. Fantini Bakery has like a lot of their employees live in the Mount Washington, neighborhood.
Yeah.
And just working with Joe Fantini and the whole bakery, and he has like this fund where people that work for him give money, and they provided some significant funding for us to give back to the neighborhood. And that's the way, that whole Fantini family has felt about the neighborhood. And so they helped us along. We got a little bit of CDBG money, working with the mayor and Andrew Hurley, and some another grant from, I think ECCF, is it?
Essex County Community Foundation.
Community Foundation. Yep. Anyway, it just all started to gel, and we saw that this could really, really happen, and then it was a matter of finding the right contractor. And we found this guy. His name is Steve Pasco, and we were turned on to Steve by Matt Juros. Matt Juros has just been such a gem. Fishbook Design, on Wingate Street,
Right.
Architect, and when I had to pick an architect, I had like 2 or 3 to pick from. Nobody would actually give me the name to pick, but I picked Matt, and Matt did some wonderful things for us early on, and then introduced us to the whole building, how to deal with the building inspector and things like that, how to interact, and did some presentations for us, is just part of his gift to us, and just made it happen. And then for the last 3 months, just struggling to get that occupancy permit, and I think we talked about this a little bit on the phone. It's not easy, and from what I can see, people at City Hall and the people in the building department, they work really, 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 really hard.
They do.
And we really appreciate all the work they did to help us get this building permit. And I think they're still struggling with a new computer system that is not quite tied in.
Yeah, for the online permits.
The online
and that kind of
permits and
stuff,
things like that, which made it
There's a learning curve in anything.
It's definitely a learning curve, and I think we talked about another thing. When we were talking, I don't want to go on a tangent on this too much. Is just like it'd just be nice if there was a way at City Hall or in the building department where you could have somebody that kind of hold your hand a little bit to go through the process.
Like a liaison to take you through the steps.
Yeah.
That's
Just something
budgets are coming up. Well, I'll make sure I mention that to the mayor. See if we can. But Inspection Services, Richard McDonald in particular, runs the show. He's a real level-headed, smart guy.
He's a great. I know Richard.
He really is a great guy to have running that department, and he really tries to make sure it's done right. It's not punitive in any way ever, but he makes people just comply with the rules, and we do okay. We do have to take a short break at 7:17, and we'll come back with more conversation right here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Bill Masick and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900.
Turn up 97.9 WHAV in your car and anywhere on your phone. Online all the time at WHAV.net. On air 24/7. Your local wave. 97.9 WHAV FM.
How does one man get himself into so many impossible situations? This is a question you'll probably ask yourself when you follow another hilarious adventure of Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. Yes, Gildy's eye for the ladies and his impulsive temperament managed to entangle him in a web of riotous circumstances. Join the romantic water commissioner, his neighbors, Judge Hooker, Mr. Peavy, and all the loyal Gildersleeve household as they romp through another episode of The Great Gildersleeve.
Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. on WHAV.
Community Spotlight.
The Bradford Elementary School PTO is now accepting registrations for their first annual golf tournament on Saturday, June 1st at the Bradford Country Club. Golfers may enter individually for $125 or in teams of 4 for $500, with money being used to fund student activities throughout the school year. To register, email bradfordelementarypto@gmail.com. Single registrations will be played on a team, and all registrations must be received by May 17th. And to submit your own nonprofit events and announcements, do so at least 3 weeks in advance. For best results, use the online form under the Contact tab at WHAV.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is John Lee.
WHAV. Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we're back, 7:20 on the Open Mic Show. Bill Masick here, and I have two people with me this hour, and they work together harmoniously, right? You guys never fight, right?
Absolutely.
No, all right. Well, I've got Keith Boucher, the co-founder of Make It Haverhill, along with the other co-founder, he says, John Cuneo from Community Action. And together they are doing something called Make It Haverhill, and they're also involved with urban kindness and a whole lot of stuff, where it all began. But I had to break and kind of stop you in the middle of your thought process, Keith, so I'll hand it back to you, and you can talk a little bit more about where you're going, what you're starting to gel to get things going, and I just know that you're you're at the tip of the iceberg, and we're going to see a lot more happening with your enthusiasm and thought process and direction up there in the Mount Washington area.
Yeah, no, thanks, Bill. You know, it's like one of those things where you just work at it, and you know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know. You know, and when we started this whole thing, John and I together, you know, it's truly this melding of community action and the continuum of services, you know, that they offer. I think the ground, you know, on the ground type of information that we have, you know, with urban kindness, and then putting those two things together, you know, and so we got our occupancy permit like a week and a half ago. Thank you.
Great. Yes.
It was. I mean, it was a long time coming, and you know, the building was in pretty good shape. All things, because I remember when Tom Bridgewater came through, like probably 2 years ago. He says, "Oh, this isn't quite as bad as you know as I thought it would be." You know, but you know, we put a lot of labor into it. And you know, essentially had to put a handicap accessible bathroom in, make it so we could get a wheelchair in the front door, new 36-inch fireproof doors, a whole fire alarm system. We put in a professional conference room, because what we're trying to do here, Bill, is you know, John's programs that he has will get somebody to a GED, right, John? You know, and then make some kind of effort to be able to, you know, help find a job. What we want to be able to do is not only with, you know, clients of Community Action, but just people that are in the neighborhood, you know, to be able to say, basically, you have access to 14 laptop computers, which we got donated by the Boston Federal Reserve Bank as part of this whole Mount Washington Alliance, you know, initiative that's still in process for the next year or so. We got 2 3D printers, again, partnering with Create-A-Pult, which is the makerspace downtown. Chris White has been absolutely fabulous. We were down there a week ago, last Sunday, myself and 2 or 3 other urban kindness people. And I got to put together my first 3D printer, and I am not mechanical, Bill. And it was just like, they laughed at me.
But you got it done.
We got it done, you know. And then, you know, I think Josh and Lisa and Penny Guerrero Perez, they did the other one, you know. But that's something that, you know, not too many people. Have you ever dealt with
I've never dealt with one close up. I've seen on television pretty much, you know, what they do, and you know, they're amazing. It's something from the you know, from a space movie or something. Well, you know, but it's here today. It's here. It kind of is science fiction today.
It's kind of here today, and you know, and we'll go, you know, time permitting, we'll go on a tangent on that whole thing on 3D printing, because that brings up a whole nother thing on advanced manufacturing and some other things that I think we have planned for Haverhill. But yeah, so we have the 3D printers. We have a 75-inch monitor TV in the main room, so we can do these outstanding presentations, not necessarily just watch movies, but do great presentations. A 65-inch monitor TV in a professional conference room, 10 chairs, conference room table, a Polycom phone. So this is for people that live in the neighborhood and all of Haverhill to be able to come in and have a professional meeting, and it's not going to cost them anything.
That's great. It's
for-
like
at
a
least for the first year.
state-of-the-art facility that's a resource right in Mount Washington.
If you go online and look at districthall.org, this is a collaborative workspace in Boston, a professional collaborative workspace in downtown Boston that's free to go to. Same type of situation. You have conference rooms you have to pay for there, but the collaborative workspace where you have free internet and where people get together and network, that's all free. That is available starting June 1st. June 1st from 10 to 12, we're having our open house. And then we're going to have our ribbon cutting. I think it's on June 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. And hopefully get all the city council there, the mayor, blah, blah, blah.
So it's June 1st and
10 to 12.
That's a Saturday,
That's a
isn't it?
Saturday,
Yeah,
right.
great day.
10 to
Yeah.
12, we'll have, like, say, light refreshments, and then we'll do the ribbon cutting and get, Dugan, Sherwood, Haverhill Chamber of Commerce, and
Yeah.
everybody that we can get into the building. We got our occupancy permits for 75 people, so we can put a fair amount of people in there. But the thing is to provide job training for people that have no skills with the computer, get them trained on a computer. We've talked with George Moriarty about doing some non-credit courses from NECC there. And he's going to also help us if we can recruit the people to do potentially some job counseling with Mass Hire. Right on site, because it's like, you don't think about walking up and down that hill or having to get out to northern Essex to do the Mass Hire and look for a job. That takes a lot of time. Travel on a bus for a while. And see how long it takes.
Yeah, I travel that hill to go up to the other Benedetti's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
One of my favorite stops. But I'll tell you, I think that it's all under the banner of Make It Haverhill, right?
It is.
So if somebody wants to take a look online, do they Google Make It Haverhill?
Look at makeithaverhill.com.
Makeithaverhill.com.
Or also get on Facebook and join the group Urban Kindness. Because we're starting to use it. We've been using that right along
Okay.
for to go off and communicate. And there is a Make It Haverhill Facebook page that they can also join.
Excellent, great. And community action. Now, John, I remember community action when it was fledgling back in the day, and it was on Locust Street. And then you moved down
Even
that.
before that, it was up on Primrose, I think.
See, I don't know if I even recall it then, but Jerry, what was Jerry's last?
Goldman.
Jerry Goldman, and then you took over for Jerry because you were working with Jerry as one of the positions that he had.
How many years ago was that?
That was 1984.
Yeah, goes way back. But now you've grown again. You're down in the square in Washington Square.
Yep.
And we just did the thing with Hope Davenport
about WIC.
With WIC.
Yes.
Another thing that you've nurtured and she's nurtured and your department has nurtured. After 15 years of her being there, it grows and grows, and she's looking to make it grow even more. And that's the kind of stuff that I think you and Keith are going to pull off. As you said earlier, you're just starting small, but you're going to grow it, and you're going to grow it together. And I have all the faith that Make It Haverhill will be really solid, and something that people may have to take a number to get into to use the resources. Right? Are you getting people now that are kind of banging on the door saying,
absolutely,
what's going on in there?
Yeah, so we've been working on with the doors open. Just people come in, they just can't believe first of all how the building looks on the inside, and then what's going to be available when we do open the doors. And it's just nice to see that we're just about there. I mean, just getting the building occupancy permit was that was the hardest part, and after this upcoming break here, I'll tell you a lot about the collaborative partners that we have, and dealing with Southwick, what's going to happen there, and a few other the good things that are coming around.
That's fantastic. All right, well, let's take that little break that you called for right now. You're like ready to go into radio. You're going to take my job. All right, Keith Boucher, John Cuneo, and myself, Bill Masick, coming right back after a short break here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic!
Bill Masick and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900.
It's 7:30.
WHAV is on Facebook, on air 24/7 and online all the time. This is 97.9 FM, WHAV.
Catch the wave!
On air or online, 97.9 WHAV serves you. Twice an hour weekdays, keep up to date with exclusive local news and weather. Find out about civic events on Community Spotlight every quarter hour. And better prepare with WAVE weather every 30 minutes. Mass Moments, Melinda's Garden Moment, Soundbeat, and Insight Daily complete the spectrum. Hear classic comedy and drama 7 nights a week at 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. Finally, a unique blend of rock and roll hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s round out the entertainment. Stay with 97.9 WHAV, the only Haverhill-based news source.
Wave weather!
Now your wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Fog and rain around for a good portion of the night. Very chilly as well. A low of 39. Wind gusts up to 20 miles per hour at times out of the northeast. It'll die down slightly to a 15 miles per hour or less on Tuesday. Showers possible in the morning and then drying out for the most part. Only 45 degrees. Back to around 40, an isolated shower Tuesday night. And then mostly cloudy and recovering slightly into the upper 50s for Wednesday. I'm WHAV meteorologist Brian Ivy. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic!
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, guys, we're back. Bill Masick here, the Open Mic host, along with Keith Boucher from Make It Haverhill and Urban Kindness, and John Cuneo, the kind of co-founder. Right? We're gonna give you that title, John. And
John's got a lot of titles.
Yeah, he's done a lot of good things. And go way back with community action with so many things. And we did the Fox School together. We worked on that. And you guys are good. So now we got to make it happen in Haverhill, but also specifically in the Mount Washington area. Yeah. So, Keith, you were holding back before you... Before you,
I was playing radio.
You use that tease to make people stick around through the information break. Yeah.
Is that a radio term? A tease?
Yeah,
okay.
It's a tease. Yeah,
I'll have to remember that one for my next time.
You just give them a little bit so they hang on. I can't turn off this radio. I can't switch, or I got to hear more of that. All right, where were you going?
Yeah, so we got Southwick. We all know about Southwick, at least one of my favorite companies in Haverhill right now. The manufacturer of Brooks Brothers Apparel.
Yeah.
Who's now becoming my best friend, Kurt Clark, who's the plant manager, the director of manufacturing at Southwick. Just been a great guy. I mean, we've had a number of tours. We've taken Haverhill High School folks there just to kind of look around. Have you been there, Bill, to see the place?
I hate to admit this, but I have not been inside.
We need to get you there. It's just it's like the United Nations.
I hear so much good about it.
It's the coolest place. You would never think that, it's a manufacturing place. It's well lit. It's air conditioned. The working conditions are great. Happy employees. Anyways, to make a long story short, they're going to give us 5 sewing machines at Make It Haverhill. It's supposed to take, I think they're into Southwick. You know, he had to actually import these from New York City because he needed 120-volt machines. These are like, say, you know,
220.
Well, he has 220 that work at his facility.
Yeah.
He had to get these out of the Brooks Brothers tailor shops, I think, in New York City. So he's got 5 of those waiting for us, and hopefully take delivery on that either this week or next week, get those installed. And then we're going to do a training program to, you know, train people that if they want to get a job at Southwick, you know, and you can make, I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm going to say like anywhere from like, say, $13 to $18 an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
The great thing is that the High Street bus in Mount Washington goes right to Southwick.
Okay.
So transportation is not an issue. So if we have people, and I've been told by people that, you know, there are people that live in Mount Washington, a lot of people from the Caribbean that live in Mount Washington, they bring some sewing skills. So if that's something that they want to do, we're going to train them on how to sew. We have 2 or 3 people, my wife being one of those, that are going to be willing to go off and do that training. My wife and I went to Southwick to kind of see, you know, what kind of training has to be done, what kind of skills you need, and it's pretty interesting. The woman that trained was showing us the training. A lot of it is dexterity, you know, with your hands and being able to do things, and obviously it's a production type of job. Woman was from Bulgaria, you know, and when was the last time you met somebody from Bulgaria?
I've heard that their workforce is very international.
Oh, it's like, I think I want to say there's over like 35 countries, I think it is, you know.
Wow.
There. But she said she was the only one that spoke Bulgarian.
And we are so fortunate to have that in Haverhill.
Yeah. But, you know, the thing is, not as many people from Haverhill work there as you might think. I think there's like maybe 20, 22. And I remember, you know, when I was talking to the mayor about this, he was always like saying, you know, we need to get more people working there. Well, this is going to be our opportunity.
You're going to be able to help that happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, so we're going to have those sewing machines. And then the other thing that John and I were thinking about was, you know, we have this plastic bag ban here.
We do, yeah.
And why not get a sewing collaborative together, right, John? You know, what do you think about that, John? Why don't you pipe in on
Well,
this?
what we've talked about is Southwick is willing to give us some of the Brooks Brothers fabric.
Yeah.
And so we could make cloth bags for people to substitute for not being able to
reusable
have plastic
bags rather than the single-use bags.
Yeah,
That,
and they'd be pretty classy, too.
Nice. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, get some folks together that want to do a sewing collaborative.
Right.
So who knows, maybe the next, you know, world famous designer will be from Mount Washington. I mean, you know, this is the things we have to think about, the things we have to drive, and, you know, just like don't take no for an answer, you know, think big, you know, just get people to try different things, you know. It's just like
the other thing that you didn't say but is sort of implicit in it all is there are a lot of open jobs up there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That are, you know, they're
looking for help.
Looking for people.
For qualified help.
Right. We want to use Make It Haverhill as the place that introduces them to this work and makes it possible for them to take the next steps so that they can look great when they go for interviews or when they're checked out in terms of their skills and background.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of these skills, Bill, start with life skills. You may think that everybody knows what you have to do to get a job, and there's so many people that really don't. You know, people that just, you know, sometimes generations just haven't gotten that. And that's where, you know, Community Action does a great job to get people some life skills. As a matter of fact, I think we have some, life skills training, John, scheduled for Make It Haverhill next week.
Coming up.
Yeah, coming up, yeah. I think actually the first pre-opening event is going to be some life skills training for some people in the neighborhood run by the Mount Washington Alliance.
And I'm sure you're going to be adding different things as over the period of time. And, you know, how about a resume writer? Well, will you help them with writing a resume?
Yeah, but that's where mass hires
Because sometimes,
can come
I mean,
in.
I know that when I used to have a job opening, it was almost sad to see some of the stuff when you asked for a resume, what you got. So, you know, maybe you can help them step it up, be a little more professional, and you know, do some things like that. And I just think it's fantastic that you're going to be like a breeding ground to help people grow into different professions. Right. And to take their skills. Some people are natural at doing things that they don't even probably know about until they give it a try.
See, the thing that we have going for us right now is the economy is so good, and the unemployment rate is so low, even though it's the highest in Mount Washington over over all of Haverhill and all of Massachusetts. But we need to take advantage of this opportunity now to get as many people trained and get them into the workforce as we possibly can do. Because again, just dealing with we've been out to a few different manufacturing engineering companies. If people have just some basic reading and writing skills, some basic math skills, one company even said, I don't even care about what their core is. And that's unique.
Wow.
You don't hear that all the time, but that's how bad people are looking.
They're looking for help.
And so by doing what we're trying to do here, just matching community opportunity with what the business needs are, we're going to help business grow. And then we're going to also, give people the skills to have jobs, better self-esteem, and like we've said all along, a rising tide raises all ships.
Right.
So if we can make this work in Mount Washington, and maybe as time goes on, help out the acre or whatever, it brings up all of Haverhill.
And a workforce is important for somebody that's looking at Haverhill to maybe locate or relocate their business.
Absolutely.
So, and if you're there and if they know that you're available, you can help train people for their business or industry. In years to come, in months to come, they may contact you to help find them their future employees.
Absolutely.
To help train them.
And that's basically what, again, talking to 2 or 3 different companies so far, that's what they're willing to do. They just say, basically, give us some people that will show up on time and have, like I said, the basic skills, some basic reading, writing, and math skills. We'll hire them. And so that's going to be one of those things where that's our big nut to crack in the first year. It's to get as many people in, get them some basic skills, and try to match them with some of these companies that we hope will become our collaborative partners, in year 2. We're pretty well set for year 1 when it comes to our ability to succeed. It's in year 2 and year 3 where we have to finalize these programs, make sure we have the grants and the funding in place, going forward from year 2 and year 3.
Are you going to run out of space?
Be a nice problem to have.
Our space is around 2,000 square feet. Like I said, we have
that's decent size.
It's a 150 square foot conference room. I think we have plenty of space for what we need to do
for
right
a while.
now.
Yeah.
And I'd love to think that we can actually run out of space. But I think what we want to be able to do is channel people in and channel people out. In the fact that as people come in, they learn their skills. They're going to be working, during the day or the evening, whatever seems to work for them, and we get new people. And we're really focused. Just to be clear, we're focused on adults 18 years and older. Okay, I don't want people to think about this as really a community center, because it's really not a community center. It's about employment, entrepreneurship, and education to get employment and to become an entrepreneur.
Makes sense.
And then
it's not just to hang out.
It's not. I mean, we're going to measure our success as, one, how many people we train, what we have for the number of people that are actually coming and doing something, whatever something might be, how many people we've trained, how many jobs people have been placed in, how many businesses that we've started up. We firmly believe that, if we get, we're beholden to the people that are giving us money. I mean, when I think of the people that have given us donations, when I think of the CDBG money, I think John and I put I don't say put our reputations on the line, but we believe in metrics and we believe in producing, because this is not just a 1-year gig. This is something that we hope in my humble opinion, I'd like to see this be successful in Haverhill and then be able to replicate it in other gateway cities across Massachusetts.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great, great ideal to have going forward. Now, what about the veterans? Now, you got the veterans a little bit up the street from you, and then you got another veteran housing project down at the old Gerson property.
That's.
Do you think you'll be able to help them, or have they been snooping around?
Not that I know of.
No, but you might be able to help them.
I believe we will, and the nice thing is basically is if you go up the hill now, you have the Gerson building gone. That whole project is going to be the veterans housing there.
Right.
Our building's going to be redone. We're going to redo the facade. And then you have the Bread and Roses housing that's going to be out where the old St. George's Church is.
Yeah.
A total new look for Washington, for the Hill,
Yeah, and that's what you hope becomes contagious. And so people that own property will see that the whole Mount Washington area is kind of getting cleaned up and refreshed, and they'll want to do the same thing for their property. And I think it is contagious. I think little by little, it's not going to happen overnight, and it didn't happen overnight to where it is now, and it will take a little while to build it back. But I think that it's great that you are, the two of you are working on things that will help rejuvenate the Mount Washington area. So it's exciting. All right, it's 7:45. We have to take our last short break, and we'll be right back. We'll take it till 8 o'clock right here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Bill Masick and the Open Mic Show will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900.
Boston stations aren't tuned into the Merrimack Valley, but you are. 97.9 WHAV has your local WAVE weather around the clock. Keep it on 97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave!
When the Haverhill School Committee meets, 97.9 WHAV FM is there live from Haverhill City Hall. Class sizes, special education, teacher hiring, and spending are among the topics covered Thursday nights at 7 when the school committee is in session. Presented as a public service from 97.9 WHAV FM.
WHAV Open Mic!
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the Open Mic Show with Bill Masick. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we're back on the Open Mic Show. Bill Masick here, and my guest this hour, Keith Boucher from Make It Haverhill, and John Cuneo, who is part of Make It Haverhill because he is the guy running Community Action, which is a great organization in Haverhill, and he's involved with Keith, and they're working together to make it happen in Haverhill. Make it happen. All right. Enough of that. So urban kindness was kind of where you got started before Make It Haverhill happened, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it was just one of those things where you want to do something your whole life. Just to do something in the community, and having lived in Salem, New Hampshire for like 30 years before we moved to Haverhill, raised our family, my wife and I. They had 3 daughters, and we kind of lived out in the middle of nowhere in the boonies, 20 minutes to get from anywhere, and. As the kids left, I just couldn't handle the empty rooms, and I said, we need to move. And, and I was just constantly reading in the Tribune, Gazette. There was this column, I don't know if it's even still exists, The Lamplighter.
That in the Haverhill Gazette, the weekly has that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, for some reason, I started reading that, and everything I read made me want to move to Haverhill. And so I convinced my wife. I was selling real estate at the time, and before I got my good job at Autodesk, the software company. So we found a nice Victorian to move to, and I could see that things were happening. The table had been set. Good set of city councilors. Very active mayor, strong mayor. It just made sense. So. And I just have seen that whole trend continue in the last 10 years since we've been here. But now it's like I think we're ready to move on to something that's even bigger. Where I think we as a city just need to differentiate ourselves. From the other gateway cities. So that's where this whole advanced manufacturing thing. I've heard big with John Mitchison. The mayor gets it. I think the city council has talked about it a little bit here, and the person that really gets it, is Dugan Sherwood. And it's so funny because Dugan and I just seem to have a lot in common. Since I've got to know him over the last year, and then we've made a couple of forays together. A lot, sometimes with John, sometimes just us and everything, and sometimes with John Cuneo and a few other folks. And there's this whole infrastructure in Boston now. You hear all these things about the seaport. You hear about Somerville and Cambridge. We went to the Kendall Square Association. It's just like all these great things and these great thinkers.
He took about 6 of us on the city council into first the seaport and then over to Kendall Square. And It was just fascinating to see what's going on.
It is. But the thing is, real estate prices are just so high there.
Right.
Housing is so high there. Manufacturing is so high there. So what does that say? That says basically if we can get the contacts and we can align our infrastructure, our manufacturing infrastructure here in Haverhill, we can do something that nobody has done yet. I mean, and I think, John has got a pretty good footprint for it. Like I said, the mayor gets it from in my conversations with him.
Yeah.
And then, Dugan and I went down to see this place called Greentown Labs in Greentown Learn. And what they do is it's sort of like an incubator where they start out these like little small companies, and they need to do some of this advanced manufacturing, whether it's 3D printing, whether it's some other things. And there are companies in Haverhill that could do this, So what they're supposed to be getting us is like a whole list of manufacturers in our region here that are part of either part of the Haverhill Chamber of Commerce or just the surrounding communities, and then we can use that as a base to kind of see what we can get some kind of brand going together here. I mean, this is just still a conversation, but
it's great thought, and if you think about it and then you try to implement it, it will happen. Something good will happen, and I think Dugan is a great find as our President CEO of the Greater Haverhill Chamber of Commerce. With his background, what he brings to the table, the knowledge, the context, how can it not happen, Keith? It's like sooner or later.
And not only that, but I mean, this is where, like, say, Make It Haverhill comes in, and the fact that if we can get these partners together to collaborate, and then. Even just working with Chris White at Creatapult, he's probably the most advanced person when it comes to 3D printing. He's doing work for Chaucer Leather now, I believe, and a few other companies just doing 3D printing for their needs. He's designing, with some Autodesk software, just some tools and some things that he can make for people, and that's just going to be the future of our manufacturing.
I agree. So it's exciting stuff.
It
really is. And,
it is.
And to think that you're up in Mount Washington trying to help the people that live there and the people that are in that area get trained and to get into this futuristic type industry.
I think it's like, and John Pipin here, after with what I said, it's really, I think what we want to be able to do is see what each person's potential is and how we can help them reach that potential. And it's like we're going to have people that come in to Make It Haverhill that are not ready,
right?
Okay, but we're not going to cast them off. We're going to say basically, okay, you're not ready yet, take a break, come back and see us in 30 days or 3 months or whatever, because, again, nobody is ever a lost cause. I mean, that's the way we have to think about these things, because if we're ever going to raise up the neighborhood, we need to figure out where people are on that continuum,
right.
whether it's to go to school, to learn life skills, to get their first job. And that first job may be a job at McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, okay? But that gets them started, that gets them thinking differently differently than they were before. And then to be able to take those same people or other people that maybe are working at Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, or some other service-oriented job, and find that person that is interested in a design type of job. So they say, yeah, I mean, I know how to use a computer now. Yes, I get the way these design skills work here. So I can go off and design, a little plastic box that I can print out, but that I'm going to suddenly turn into something else that I can go off and sell, or find somebody that has that's a budding entrepreneur, and then give them the professional office space, give them coaching from SCORE, give them access to people from the Haverhill Chamber of Commerce. I mean, it's basically taking the silos that are there in Haverhill today and bringing them together so people can go off and just actualize who they want to be.
Sounds exciting. It really does. And it's great that you're working to make it all happen here in Haverhill at Make It Haverhill. And they can go, it's makeithaverhill.com.
makeithaverhill.com, right.
Okay.
And that's just really just a rudimentary, website. I would ask you to get on Facebook, if you do Facebook, and join Urban Kindness, and we can direct you from there. Urban Kindness is a group on Facebook.
Right.
And then there's Make It Haverhill has a page on Facebook as well.
Right. So you got your first year plan, and then beyond that, you see visions of growth and expansion, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is where it comes into sort of like double tracking the Make It Haverhill thing along with the advanced manufacturing, and then tying in all the activities the community action does. Because again, it's all going to tie together. We have this whole what we call this innovation ecosystem. So we have people that are graduating from high school. That I don't know if you've Jack Gardner, and
I had Jack on the show last week.
He's one of the collaborators with us.
Another guy that's kind of a pioneer in what he's looking to do, but it just is so good, and it makes so much sense that I just hope he can get the funding necessary to really get it off the ground.
Well, we're definitely partners in crime when it comes to that, to use the pun. But I think, probably the difference in what he's looking at is really he's looking at dealing with the schools.
Right.
We're really dealing with probably people more outside of the workforce, people that either didn't make it all the way through school, that are part of the continuum at Community Action, or are out there now that are unemployed or underemployed, and trying to get them to the jobs that are open with some of the companies that are coming to us saying, help us out here. We have a company, Crystal Engineering in Newburyport. They'd love to be able to come to Haverhill in some kind of conversations, to do some pretty cool things if it can be made happen. We've talked to Magellan. There's all the food service industries out here that we need to visit. I mean, all you got to do is just get on a bus downtown and be able to. And I did this with my grandson because he wanted to go on a bus ride. He picked the Bradford bus, so that brought us through the entire industrial park. And I said, you can get on a bus in downtown Haverhill and go to all these places where there are jobs. And it's just a matter of lining people up with that. And it's just a quick walk, downtown from Mount Washington to go off and get on a bus and get to all these places that have jobs.
That's great. So our bus routes are help people get to where they need to go.
Yeah, the only thing that, and I think we've talked about this in the past, there may need to be some kind of extension to some of the hours.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think they're a little bit short. They don't give people
second and third shift.
Same thing with our train schedule, in and out of Boston. But I think with the traffic that we have now on our highways, we really need to. And it truly isn't a community thing; it's more of a state thing. But there has to be more thought and more effort put into our public transportation, but Merrimack Valley Transportation, Merrimack Valley Transit Authority does a great job. So,
but it's funny you say that, Bill, because now some of the companies that at least I think two of the companies that we've talked to, they're willing to help out with transportation. They're talking about carpooling and giving some of the other people that live in Haverhill that might want to go to Newburyport or some of these other places, just funding people to go pick up these other people that want to come to work at these facilities.
It's like a new mentality almost that's starting to develop among people and jobs and just everywhere.
It is, but I think, like I said, I think we have to act on this. I'd say in the 0 to 2 years time frame, because if the economy starts to turn, and we don't have some of this stuff in place here, and elevate some of these folks here, it's going to be harder as unemployment starts to go up again.
I think you're on your way, and I want to thank both of you for coming in. Keith Boucher from Make It Haverhill, the co-founder. The other co-founder, John Cuneo from Community Action here in Haverhill. And you guys are great. All the things you do, all the efforts you're putting in. I know it's going to pay off, and if there's anything we can do here at WHAV for you, let us know, announcements and events that are going on. So let me just say one more time, it's June 1st?
June 1st, 10 to 12 at 301 Washington Street, and then June 14th from 4 to 6 at 301 Washington Street.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. We're out of time, guys, but thank you for coming in, and don't get too wet on the way home, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Sounds good.
This has been the Open Mic Show on a Monday night on WHAV. We're here every Monday from 6 to 8. I'm Bill Masick. Thanks for joining in and listening, and we'll talk to you real soon. Next week, real quick, first hour, City Council President John Midgetson. Second hour, a former state representative and chairman, Brian Dempsey, will be here on the open mic taking calls. So think of your questions and get ready to dial in to speak with Brian next Monday from 7 to 8 right here on the Open Mic Show on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open Mic!
Join Bill Masick live on the Open Mic Show again next Monday night at 6. The opinions expressed on the Open Mic Show are not necessarily those of 97.9 WHAV FM, its underwriters, or affiliated stations. The Open Mic Show came to you from the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom.